The Philadelphia Flyers were meant to start last year with the goaltending sorted out for the first time since the John Van Beesbrook era. And in typical Philadelphia Flyers fashion, it was not solved.
No.
And I'm not convinced it is this year.
Still has not been.
They finished last in the division, 76 points, a .463 points percentage, just to rub that in for Flyers fans. And here, wow, okay. Are the Flyers better? We hope. But are they 84 and a half? So they were 76 last year. 84 and a half points is the BetMGM over-under odds. To me, I'm going under on that. I don't see it.
I think they're better.
I think they're better too.
I take the under, though.
That's a huge 8 to 10 points. People don't get how that is an enormous swing. Enormous swing in points.
I'd love to know what the lowest over-under is.
It's a good question. I can look that up later.
Yeah,
Jesse, what do you have for 84 and a half on the Flyers?
I'll take the under.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, and the reason we take the under is not because we hate your city, Philadelphia. It's because we're not convinced that what happened here is really going to be the solve. Obviously, Ivan Fedotov, who was supposed to be the goalie of the future, is now in Columbus as their third goalie. Sam Arison, who played a lot last year, hasn't looked great in preseason yet, but it's preseason. And the big free agent get was Dan Vladar for 2 years, $3.35 million. I want to start on the goaltending, guys. This was a major issue and has been a major issue for Flyers fans dating back a quarter century. Dan Vladar feels like a stopgap to a bigger move eventually, correct?
Yeah, but to me, it's like, you ever see This Is the End with Seth Rogen? And there's a big crack in the wall, and he puts a piece of duct tape on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of how I see that signing. Like, Vladar is, just because he's their best option, does not mean he's a great option. He'll be better than,
he's better than Kolosov and Fedotov.
The bar that those two, in particular, the bar that those two set for the Flyers, they were basically unusable.
Well, and Kolosov apparently would not go to the AHL. And now this year is willing to do so.
So he brought it to the NHL.
Yeah. Well, he was saying, I will go back to Russia. And now he's like, oh, no, I guess I do need to go to Lehigh Valley.
Yeah, dude, you were terrible.
On defense, Jess, Travis Sanheim, Cam York, Nick Seeler, Jamie Drysdale, Zamula, Juleson. Tough defense, can move the puck, but there's, outside of Travis Sanheim, who's a fantastic defenseman. Rasmus Ristolainen's on the ER too. We should mention that, or IR, excuse me. Not a sparkling defense core. Is that fair?
That's fair. But like with the Flyers, I don't really care about what's there on their defense score. I care about Oliver Bonk and like Luchenko and Drysdale. Like those are the people Drysdale's on their NHL roster. It's like there's such a work in progress. It's about the prospects and what they're doing there. So even if they're not competitive on the NHL level and they're a sixth defenseman, like I think it's just we're building for the future.
I think they're at the fun part of the rebuild. Not much is expected of them. They're still going to be kind of bad. But you watch because of what a guy like Matvei Michkov can do. And you watch because of what a Luchenko can do if, should he make the team, or Bonk or Drysdale. I don't think they're in the we have a long way to go downward.
No.
Like a team that I think is like that is the Islanders. I like what they're doing. They're going to lose a lot of guys, I think, by the end of the year.
And they're going to lose a lot of games.
And there's going to be a lot of pain there. The Flyers, I think, are on the up part. I don't think there's much left to get rid of, unless they really wanted to tear the doors off.
And I don't think they do.
Lose like a Konechny or something. I don't think they should do that. I think they're on the way up. They're going to be fun to watch. They're going to score. And they're going to allow a lot of goals.
On forward, it's interesting you bring up Michkov. I want to talk about two things at once. And that's the effect of new head coach Rick Tocchet on this group. Obviously, we saw what Rick Tocchet was able to do with Vancouver a couple of years ago. Last year, not great. It wasn't great. But I don't know if I lay that at Tocchet's feet. And it's interesting that Rick Tocchet is their biggest free agent defection. The Philadelphia Flyers brought in Trevor Zegras on a trade, Christian Dvorak on a one-year deal. It's an interesting sort of move here to kind of augment what they have. Zegras, you got to think, Zegras is only 24. He's only 24.
Yeah.
So he's going to get an opportunity to do something great here. Rick Tocchet is a guy who's notoriously good with dealing with personalities that may or may not be difficult. The rumors, these are probably unfair, in Anaheim where that maybe Zegras was resistant to the Greg Cronin style of coaching, which I think most human beings are.
The Ducks were resistant to it. They fired him.
Yes. So Zegras getting a fresh start. Rick Tocchet being in there. I want to talk about those two, and then I want to get to Michkov. Who wants to take Zegras in Philadelphia?
Yeah, and the Flyers are going to have a monopoly on lacrosse-style goals.
Yeah.
And Michigan's.
Yep.
Because both those guys, I need them to do a dish again in the first game. Home opener. Just do it. Just try it. I want to see it. I don't think prime Scotty Bowman was solving what happened in Vancouver last year. So I don't lay that on Tocchet at all. Zegras, I think, desperately just needed a new situation. They're going to be fun. They're going to score a lot of goals. For a guy who Tocchet's reputation, he's not the fun coach. He's not let it fly. We're all here to have a great time coach. He's what's your problem coach? And then you solve it, right? Which is much better and more productive than hard-ass authoritarian, which is where the Flyers are coming from. I think it's going to be looser, and it's easy to do all the fun things that they're capable of doing when they're loose.
Mm-hmm.
But losing constantly, it's difficult to be loose. So they're going to have to figure that out.
Jesse, what do you think here?
I think it shouldn't go without said that the years under John Tortorella weren't the prettiest of times at times. It was an ugly tenure, especially at the end when he admitted publicly he didn't want to be there because of all the losing. And I think in Rick Tocchet, you have somebody who knows what the job entails and that this isn't a team that the expectation shouldn't be chasing a playoff spot. It should be just growing all the young kids and getting better and seeing what you have. And that this season can be a good vibes year if they are just successful in competing hard. And I think John Tortorella's expectations on himself were that we could win the Stanley Cup or something, and that we're going to be at least in these games and competitive and winning. And those shouldn't have been his expectations.
I don't know what the illusion was there.
Yeah. That's why they kind of fell short and things felt miserable by the end. And I think with Tocchet, you have the correct attitude for the direction of this organization.
Mm-hmm. So, I think that's so interesting, Jess, because the Rick Tocchet understands and was with Philadelphia when they were at their best the last time, right? Like when they were, getting close to the Stanley Cup final, the Lindros years, the Primo years, and understands, I think, because Philadelphia is an interesting market. This is not a quiet market in hockey. It doesn't get talked about enough, but when you're a Flyer, you wear that every day in Philadelphia. It's not, you're not a market where it's like, it's game 32 and nobody's here. People give a shit in Philadelphia. They love this team. And there's a Flyers brand that has been there since the 70s, since they started, since they won cups. Rick Tocchet seems to understand that. I don't see the traditional Flyers brand on this roster just yet, unless you want to look at Garnet Hathaway.
They're not built like the Flyers.
But I would say that it'll be nice to have a head coach that won't cost Matvei Michkov a Calder Trophy, and which I honestly think he could have won if Tortorella had not been his coach. Beyond that, though, good vibes. What does a team that's not that good need to do to have good vibes, guys? What is that?
I think it's honestly easy and simple. I don't know if the old heads are going to enjoy the radical coaching style of Rick Tocchet, where he's going to employ this strategy where he doesn't healthy scratch the team's top goal scorer. If your top offensive producer, he was second in points to Konechny, I think, is getting scratched, even if he's a rookie.
Because he won't lay down in front of a puck.
How does that affect the rest of the team? And Jesse, I'm glad you brought up the Torts quotes from the end of the season. How are you supposed to show up to work? Even if Torts didn't say that out loud until he did, it must have exuded from him. And now you got a new guy who is coming in with a new, fresh attitude, and he's excited, and he just got the bag, and he's not beaten down by the years of, we kind of stink. I think the vibes go up by default.
Okay.
And I think Daniel Briere has done a good job since he's gotten there. And it hasn't even been it's been 2.5 years.
2.5 years, yeah.
May of 23 when he got there. So I think in that time, he's built a nice collection of young talent. It's not, I don't think, as good as San Jose, but it's like right there amongst the teams that are looking to take another step with a bunch of young talent. It's right there with them when you look at the collection. They're missing like the next guy next to Michkov that you can say like that's the star. Jamie Drysdale might be that guy. Who knows? Luchenko might be that guy.
Pretty good.
Who knows? We're just waiting for one of those guys to emerge. But they're right there with like, hey, this team's going to be really good for a 5-year stretch because they have so much young talent. I'm very optimistic about the future of the Flyers if they can really get that goaltending down. The guys can all take a step.
You need stops.
You do.
Stops.
You absolutely do. Okay, so where do we have the Flyers ranked? Last year, last place in the division. Obviously, you're hoping you take a tiny step forward. And there are some other teams in there that beat the Flyers last year in terms of total points that you think might slide. Where, Jesse, do you have the Flyers ranked? Seventh in the division. Steve?
If the Islanders strip it down the way I think they're going to, Flyers are 7th.
I am bullish on the Flyers. I think they're going to be 6th.
Wow,
yeah.
That's so high.
Yeah, I am. Listen, go Flyers. That's what I always say.
That's tough when that's bullish.